Welcome to the Modern Homes Podcast with Rob Clemons.
Frank Dominick.
We're glad to have everybody back today.
Yep.
Frank, I think today we need to talk a little bit about Myrtle Beach. Mm-hmm. We're just coming off CCMF. That was just recently, as you know.
Big event. Big stars there.
Big stars. We had Jelly Rolls there. Actually, Kid Rock came to town.
Kid
Beach
Rock
Boys were here.
Beach Boys.
Rascal Flatts.
Which, at the airing of this show, Brian Wilson just passed away from the Beach Boys.
Yeah, that's wow,
the
man.
mastermind of the Beach Boys.
What a tough
No
one,
longer
man.
touring with them.
Yeah. But he
had passed away.
It's tough. Well, John Stamos was also with them. John Stamos kind of rolls with them. Now, I guess he's John Stamos is a singer, right?
Fancies himself as a drummer as well.
And a drummer. Okay, got you, man. Mm-hmm. Talented guy, man. When I was growing up, John Stamos was a big deal.
He was a Full House guy.
Yeah, he was a Full House guy. So, but no, CCMF. What a great one. Lainey Wilson was there. Just an amazing event. And each year, as you know, I do a CCMF special with the Leader Mentality.
Done a few with you.
And Leader Mentality show. We've always thought let's meet some leaders and what they do. And I love meeting these country music stars because they don't all have a straight line shot up.
Correct.
And maybe you went on The Voice and or America's Got Talent.
That's the modern being seen quick thing.
It's the being, but more often than not, and even probably for those people, the trek is like this.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I love doing that on the Leader Mentality show because I feel like that's what people need to hear. It's like, hey, when I'm having a hard day at work, when I'm having a hard day at the office, hard day in whatever I'm doing, it won't last forever, and it's always a better thing ahead, but you just got to stay tenacious, man. So
you look at somebody like Kid Rock, you could very easily Google and see the pictures of him as a rapper with the high-cut hair and the jumpsuit on.
He's one of those cross-genre guys.
Well, he's totally also shifted with the cowboy thing and all
for
that.
Sure, for sure.
He totally shifted his focus. Kind of like, we joked about my restaurant had a lot of focus change.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of businesses and people have to go through that metamorphosis to get to where they're going.
You got to know your market, man. Know where the market's at.
You got to listen to the market.
It was great though, and you and I could go off on a tangent on that. So, but I'll say that CCMF, such a brilliant event put on in Myrtle Beach each year.
Do a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have tens of thousands of people coming to these shows, amazing events, and just such a great event for the area. Yeah. And when you get in there, it's mind-blowing. When you see the drone shots from above and they show all of those people there.
When you're there in that area in normal times, you can't fathom what you see in those drone shots.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, exactly. When you're on the ground, you see a lot of people, but you just can't get that scope.
But I also mean when you're there, like now when this festival's over, and you just see that area, it doesn't have any magnitude to it.
Oh, well.
You have to see that.
Yeah, you have to see the drone shots for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. The Grand Strand Brewery, we did some shows out of there. Yeah. I think you did some this year.
Oh, I brought, Grand Strand Brewing Company, by the way. I want to give them a plug.
Fantastic.
I was able to do some shows there, and they're so accommodating, and I love the food. They brew their own beer here locally.
Their own beer.
Fantastic place, good service, and of course they're right across the street from CCMF, so that's not bad.
But when you're there now and you look out, it doesn't have any it's not this magnanimous area.
Well, it's what you can do when you have a foresight of what you want something to look like. If you were to go there right now, for those of you who don't live in Myrtle Beach, or even if you do, you go to that area, it's just a blank grass area.
It's basically a field.
And they turn it into a little city for a few days of music. Love that. And listen, man, a big announcement happened recently where apparently there's going to be I don't know if they'd call it a rock and roll version of that show, but it's a non-country music version.
I'm excited about that.
Oh, man, I think there's so much you can do with it. So kudos to Myrtle Beach. I think Myrtle Beach is always trying to stay on the forefront of things. Kudos to Myrtle Beach to say, hey, this is what the people want. Let's bring it here and make some good things happen.
As somebody who recently moved here in the last 3 or 4 years, I'm pretty happy to have made the move.
Oh, what, pretty happy? I'd say ravingly happy.
I've had some people say, what are some of the negatives? And I don't have many.
Well, yeah, because you can find a negative about anything.
I'm not that kind of guy, I guess. More of a positive spin guy.
I don't mean you as in Frank Dominick can. I'm saying...
Right, but also... I can't really, even when people talk about traffic at certain times of the day, I lived in Baltimore, man.
Man, if you lived in any big city.
I had to drive down to D.C. a lot or do some stuff in New York. There are rush hour times. Obviously, we have things going on, but my gosh, my daughter lives in the L.A. area and there's 6 lanes of traffic that are standstill. They have a traffic light to get onto the highway.
Yeah. No, it's
crazy. This is not that here.
Yeah, I think Myrtle Beach has got a lot of pluses to it, and there's a reason people are coming here when you got the ocean. So we kind of want to talk about that today.
Yeah.
Talk about, obviously when I say to most people, why do you come to Myrtle Beach? You hear the ocean, we love going to the beach.
Golf.
And golf. Those are the two biggies. And of course, we do have great golf courses here.
A lot
also,
of them.
So ranging from Calabash, North Carolina on down and around that area, all the way down to Georgetown area. So if you've ever looked at a map of Myrtle Beach, we have Myrtle Beach kind of almost centralized, but going south, Litchfield, Polly's Island, Georgetown, then going north, you're talking your Carolina Forest, working up to North Myrtle Beach, Little River. Yeah, then you're crossing the border. But fascinating stuff. What else you like to do, Frank? Let's just kind of take. I want to give people a tour of Myrtle Beach. Let's trade some ideas.
I like when I have free time, which lately is not a whole lot. I'm either playing with my band somewhere locally, and I get to see and meet a lot of people, which is my thing. That's my
kind of a little bit of a nightlife here, then.
A lot of nightlife.
Because this is my vision for this show. We're going to talk about topics, man. So we talk about nightlife is great here. If you like to go out and hear some music, things like that,
you could see live music. Every day here, all year long. Now, off season, obviously, it's not as big of a production, but you have Bike Week, which is bands everywhere, and some national acts coming. Then you have the Country Music Fest, which is, if you like country music, that is the spot.
Well, I like this when you come in for entertainment. Look, here's a couple of ones that I think of. We do have a House of Blues here.
Yes.
House of Blues brings in big talent.
Big talent.
So I've seen some great performers over the years. Snoop Doggy Dogg came here. Johnny Lang, when he was young, he came by here. Man, amazing talent.
Yeah.
But you also go into places like the Boathouse. We have a place called the Boathouse here in Myrtle Beach, and it's a restaurant. So you can go there during the day and just do that. But they bring big performances in.
Restaurants underselling that place.
Absolutely.
Underselling it. They pull some good talent in.
Well, and that's what I mean. I mean, they have a stage. Everlast was here. You start talking about, man, you're bringing in real talents that are coming here. So do love the nightlife angle.
Then you go into the Myrtle's Inlet area, and you got the whole Marsh Walk, and you see phenomenal bands from up and down the coast will travel in and do a week-long stay.
Absolutely.
My band has played the Garden City Pier in Garden City, obviously. It's just outside of Myrtle's Inlet. And they do an interesting thing. We're usually, because we're local, we're on the first, they call it the cafe bar stage. There's another stage out at the end of the pier, and that is typically, I'm finding out, a week-long engagement. So those people are coming in from out of the area and doing a week-long run there.
To go there. It's
pretty wild.
That's pretty cool.
That's one pier. Then you have the Apache Pier. Then you have the bars all around. It's endless. If you like live music, this is a place to be.
Well, so I'll get into, apart from that, Greg Roll's Legacy Theater is a place to go. Alabama Theater. So if you're coming to the area, you're looking, hey, what am I going to do with my money? You have everything from smaller performances, on walkways. You have major, big performances coming in. In fact, interesting, when I was talking to the Greg Roll's Legacy Theater here recently, Billy Bob Thornton's coming in and playing, I believe, in August.
It's like the Box Cutters, Box Tops.
Yeah, his band. But I tell you what, I mean, you're bringing real-time talent across the country right here in Myrtle Beach. I'm going to go a different route now. So you talked about the Marsh Walk, got me to thinking about restaurants. So Myrtle Beach, one of the things we're renowned for is we have these just tons of places to eat. And, I always hear this when people are coming from out of town. There's no food. Nobody makes pizza like here or whatever. But I'm going to tell you, if you're coming down here from everything from places like Greg Norman has the restaurant up at Barefoot. You have places like you go to Broadway at the beach, talking about the Paula Deen. I mean, I'm just talking about names you hear everywhere. Margaritaville. The Marsh Walk is huge for it. I think some of the people who come to town, they're like, "Where do you want to eat?" I'm like, "Boy, it's almost impossible."
People, and I'm one coming from the restaurant world. There are a lot of restaurants in any area that are okay. But if you look and you talk to enough locals, you will find the spots that are really good.
At one point, just to put some magnitude to it, because I know everywhere has restaurants and people have different opinions.
Sure.
Barefoot, near Barefoot, we had this place called Restaurant Row, and I don't even want to say the stat because I'll get it wrong and somebody can fact check it. But at one point, there were more restaurants per mile or something than anywhere else in the country. Again, don't fact check me on it, but
I actually would say I'd believe it.
Restaurant Row, so look it up in Myrtle Beach and you get the real stats. But so come here, get some pretty good cuisine. And I would say, it is a flair from all over the place because so many people come here and started restaurants or whatever.
Well, another thing about this area is that it's not a industrial area; it's a hospitality area.
Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
That is our number one business.
Yeah.
You know, somebody like yourself, a builder, or somebody like myself, a realtor, we are in a business that can transfer out of this market and do okay. But bringing other business, if you have other skill sets here, it sometimes can be dicey because it is predominantly. Your big employers here are hospitality, healthcare, and probably service industries.
Oh, yes.
And a service could be food, but it could also be HVAC,
can
building,
be retail, though,
all that
too.
stuff.
Yeah,
but it's a service market.
Yeah.
So that being said, when you're here, there's a lot of great service in Myrtle Beach. That's one thing I've noticed. I've had very few bad experiences out getting service.
You think that's Southern hospitality, or is it something else?
Two things. I think one is Southern hospitality. The other thing is, and it went back to some comments I made in previous shows, everybody's here trying to make a connection.
Yeah, no.
You know, if I'm a realtor, I'm trying to find that new person in the town or somebody who's been here a little bit longer than me so I can make it my network a little bit bigger and have some influence out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's huge. You have to make that influence.
Well, so, and I agree with you. And one thing, again, just to go and kind of put a bow on that side of things, look, one thing about South Carolina that's really interesting, and in this area, there was one point where years and years ago, one of the number one things here was rice farming, believe it or not.
Yes.
And
golden rice? Is that what it's called? There's a type of rice here.
Man, I'm no rice expert.
It's known for this in this area. In South Carolina, there's a type of rice. I had somebody talk about it.
Well, there are areas down in the Georgetown, Pawleys Island, and actually a whole community called the rice fields, where they have this water, and the way rice is grown, it has these water beds. And again, I'm getting out of my comfort zone, and then textiles were another thing that was huge. So if you go back 100 years ago, these are what you would see, but over time it's developed in this tourism area. Very cool stuff.
It was called Carolina Golden Rice. I had to look it up real quick. It's certified South Carolina Golden, certified Carolina grown Carolina Gold rice. It's a
Frank,
type of rice.
The rice fanatics listening to our shows are riveted right now. Thank you for sharing.
I had to grab it. It's going to bother me.
Everybody else in the population, the other 99 are like, what?
They're gone. The pasta people out.
All right. Anyway, so next up we're talking about, I think a lot of people ask, what do we do when we bring our kids to town? Still a family destination.
Tons of stuff to do.
So, yeah, I think of stuff like we have the go-kart tracks. Yep. I think those are always kind of fun.
They've made miniature golf out of everything.
The mini, this is the mini, it's got to be the mini golf capital.
They're everywhere.
And
they have mountains.
They're all pretty interesting.
Volcanoes, waterfalls.
We got dinosaurs.
Tiger Woods just opened a place.
PopStroke.
And it's doing really well.
PopStroke over at Broadway. I've heard good things. Haven't been there yet.
Haven't been either. Yeah. We've done the Top Golf. We've done that a few times.
Absolutely.
Which is fun.
Yeah, Top Golf, always great. But I'd give some shout outs. Somebody's looking at doing something. You got kids coming to town. Look at places like Wonderworks. Great educational experience for kids. Ripley's Aquarium's great.
Broadway at the beach, that whole run up there.
Broadway at the beach has tons of things. And then I think about the Wax Museum over there, right in Myrtle Beach. Ripley's, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So if you got a family coming to town, it's important for me to convey this because, Myrtle Beach gets a lot of press as a party town sometimes. We get a lot of press for, just the amount of sometimes hooligans coming to town. Yeah. But it's still a family destination with lots of good stuff.
I would say it's far more a family.
Oh, 100%. If you've ever lived in some big cities, you will not find much that's here. Okay, so here's something I'm going to go to. What about our colleges, man? Myrtle Beach, now technically it's in Conway, but Coastal Carolina University, huge, Horry Georgetown Tech. I put these two colleges up against anywhere in the nation.
I would agree.
It literally, when you're talking about for a tech school, HGTC's
You and I both being in the trades and me tied to the trades a lot as a realtor, we have met a lot of people that have gone through that, or Georgetown are doing good things.
Oh, and they're doing very well. And then Coastal Carolina has it's a nationally accredited business school. I'm a Coastal grad, shants up. But hey, look, and I'd be remiss not to talk about this, Coastal baseball. Baseball. Now, by the time this show airs, I'm not sure how we're going to be doing, but we are in the World Series.
Yes.
And we won it back in 2016. So, look, if you're coming to town, I'm giving age ranges of all ages a reason that you could come here. Well, Frank, I think we hit some good topics here. Anything that we missed so far? Talked about nightlife. We talked about golfing, and we kind of shot by the golfing.
There's a couple obvious glaring things, like is the beach life.
Well, the beach life.
The other thing I want to highlight is that if you go from Little River down the Pawleys Island to Georgetown, there are several different feels of beach. The markets are totally different.
Very nice, very nice.
If you're in North Myrtle, you have a lot of high rises. You have a lot of family or condos and that kind of thing. And as you go down, they lessen and lessen us until you get to Polly's. There's no condos.
Yeah, you're right.
No high rises. There's condos, but no high rises.
Main Street in North Myrtle Beach will take you straight right by the Greg Rolls Theater, straight down to the ocean, and they have a different feel than when you're in Polly's Island beaches. So
totally different
definitely
feel.
The case.
Totally different.
I like the beach life, and when you get to the beach life, it's not just sitting there and tanning. They have parasailing and all these kinds of things.
Helicopter tour rides.
Absolutely. Now, that makes me think of one other thing. And again, there's so many things to do in Myrtle Beach, but here's one. Have you been to the state parks at all?
Been to a few.
And all this. So we have Huntington Beach State Park and Myrtle Beach State Park.
Brook Green Gardens across the street.
Gardens.
Amazing.
Well, you ever been to Brook Green Gardens at Christmas time?
I have not.
Man, Frank, I'm going to tell you something.
My wife and mother-in-law went, and they had the pictures, they called it something of lights.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Go next year.
I will.
I know you're. See, now, guys, sometimes we hear this kind of stuff and we're like, hey, there's a baseball game on tonight.
That guy.
Yeah, But the deal is that, look, it is amazing. I went one year kind of with the whole, what, and just so much to see.
You spent the whole time going.
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, like really take pictures and stuff, and so check out the state parks, check out Huntington Beach, check out Brook Green Gardens. I think that's really amazing. And aside from that, there's so many more things to do in Myrtle Beach. I don't want to shortchange anything we're kind of like spot picking things, but look, anybody who lives here, if you heard it and you want to throw a shout out, we'd love to hear from you.
Another thing is, if you are here and you're one of the vendors that are an attraction or you are providing a service in an area that you want to get your message out, reach out to us.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm going to kind of end the show where we started the show. CCMF, man, amazing year this year. Yeah. Personally, as you know, I do the Leader Mentality show as well, and you help with the show a lot of times. Lauren helps with the show a lot of times. I'm just so grateful to have met these people who I truly believe are almost like salt of the earth.
Oh, yeah.
We see these performers on stage, they almost seem bigger than life, but to sit down with them both before the show and during the show and see that these are real people working hard with great hearts and great personalities, but they're telling me more than anything, the fans mean everything to them. Mm-hmm. So we had Bailey Marie come on the show, and she's an actress on HBO. She was really amazing. So, if you guys ever get a chance, check out that show. A guy named Trey Calloway came on, and Trey blew my mind, man. I mean, if this guy doesn't become a superstar in the country music field, I don't know who can, because just amazing personality, and he spoke with his heart, and that meant a lot to me, and just in general. We had just so much good time, which is all the local people that were here. And so to me, what I would say to you is, when you go to these shows, support them. Enjoy it. Make sure you clap, because people are feeding off of you as much as you're feeding off of them.
I can tell you, somebody who plays music in front of live audiences, audience participation is the biggest part of it. If it's a dead crowd, it's hard to get yourself up into that moment.
Absolutely, man.
I always say, when you perform, whether you're in a play or in a musical group or a singer, it's an energy exchange. Even in sports, it's an energy exchange.
Yeah.
If you're cheering a crowd on, watch your team start to win.
I think it's especially in sports, Frank. Because
you'll see your team start to win.
Well, we always talk about the home field advantage, and we try to figure out why is one team doing well versus another team and whatnot.
It's the energy exchange.
It is the energy exchange, because every time that you get into those situations, you look and you see these teams, and they start picking it up a lot, right? Right when the team's cheering on and things. Yeah. So I do believe that's what I picked up the most from it. So enjoy that. For you as a band, when you're playing your band, tell me about how that feels. Like before you go out, because I listen to all of them. Tell me what it's like before you've gone out and you're playing for a crowd, and what it means to you.
Before you go out?
Yeah, before you go out, you don't even know who's out there. What are you thinking? And then how does it change as you get in front of the crowd, and just kind of talk about the process?
Well, for us, it's a little different than it is for them, because they're typically at a festival level. You're out on a stage, so you're in a green room before you go. We're setting up.
Yeah.
So we're seeing people come in. And a lot of times, if there's already a crowd there, you can engage in conversation, and you get a buy-in, and you can kind of sell yourself a little bit to, hey, stick around and check us out. Yeah. Also, as a realtor, I can find out how many people in the audience are buyers.
That's a pretty funny thing. Yeah, you're kind of working the crowd a little bit.
But once you start, if you start off on a good foot, and you find the right song that connects to the audience to get somebody singing or up dancing, that energy exchange starts, and then you pretty much can you have to maintain that energy. But if you get them up and going, or get them singing back to you, you're going to have a good night.
Mm-hmm.
The energy exchange is so different. But there's times where you get booked somewhere and maybe they've had a rough run, or the weather's bad and it's off season, so you're depending on local people at that point. It rains really heavy, which we do have sometimes some heavy rains like anywhere else.
Well,
people stay home. They're like, I don't want to go out tonight.
If we missed something, feel free to let us know. And if you're coming in from out of town and you have a question, reach out to us. We'd love to field your questions right here on the show. So, well, this has been all about Myrtle Beach. Frank, I appreciate the input.
Got it.
I think we'll all be out. We're going to go to the beach this weekend. Call it a day. So thank you guys for liking and sharing us on social media. Thank you to our sponsors, Carolina-based Real Estate and Construction, Greg Roll's Legacy Theater, and go out and enjoy yourselves. And until then, we'll see you next time on the Modern Homes Podcast. Rob and Frank.